Have you ever, gotten completely hopelessly tangled up trying to switch just a couple of HDMI cables behind your living room TV?
Oh, yeah, it's an absolute nightmare.
Right. You unplug the gaming console, you plug in the streaming box, the screen goes black, and you're just, well, praying it eventually figures it out.
And half the time you end up restarting everything anyway.
Exactly. So now I want you to imagine scaling that frustration way, way up. Imagine managing 32 different 4K screens at the exact same time.
That is a whole different ballgame.
It really is. So our mission today for this deep dive is to explore the hidden, heavy-duty hardware that actually routes massive digital and video networks, and we're using some technical source material on high-end Smart-AVI Matrix switches from HDTVSupply.
Yeah, because moving from a living room to, a commercial environment like a live broadcast studio or a massive sports bar, it just changes the math completely. You aren't just plugging in a cable once and walking away.
Right, you're constantly adjusting.
Exactly. An operator might need to instantly send, say, a live camera feed to screens 1 through 5 and then a totally separate PC feed to screen 6, all without leaving their desk.
And they are doing this through these really intense enterprise-level matrix switches.
Yeah.
We're looking at the Smart-AVI HDR-32x32-PLUS-V3-S. It's a nearly $10,000 piece of hardware.
It's not cheap.
No, not at all. It handles 32 high-definition sources and routes them to 32 different displays in any combination. Uncompressed 4K or 1080p, zero signal loss, pushing up to 40 feet. But honestly, looking at these specs, something immediately jumps out at me as a massive point of failure.
Let me guess, the digital handshake.
Yes. Okay, let's unpack this. If my laptop gets totally confused and gives up just plugging into one standard external monitor, how does a system pushing 32 separate 4K streams at once not just crash the second you switch a feed?
What's fascinating here is this feature called EDID learning.
EDID.
Yeah, it stands for Extended Display Identification Data. Think of it as like a digital ID card. Every monitor has one, and it basically tells the video source, hey, I am a screen, and I can handle 4K resolution at 60 frames per second.
Oh, I see. So the matrix switch basically intercepts that ID card.
Exactly. It learns the profile of every connected display and just spoofs it. So the computer generating the video thinks it's still happily plugged into the perfect screen, even if you've wristed that video feed to the complete other side of the building.
So the computer never panics, which means you never get that terrifying black screen of death.
Right, the handshake is totally managed. You can control it via Windows software, TCP/IP, or RS-232. It's super versatile. But, solving the visual problem is only half the battle.
Because seeing a remote computer's video feed on your monitor doesn't really help much if you can't actually, click the mouse.
Right, you need to actually do your job.
Which naturally brings us to the physical control side. If I route the video of a graphics key seed to my desk, I need my physical tools to interact with it. That's where the Smart-AVI MU88S comes in.
Yeah, the 8x8 transparent USB 2.0 matrix switch.
Exactly. So instead of routing HDMI cables, this thing routes USB ports, allowing up to 8 users to control 8 different computers.
And the really critical detail in the specs here is that it uses transparent USB with no emulation.
Right, which sounds like total pure jargon until you realize how regular USB switches actually work. Normally, a standard switch uses emulation, right?
Yep, it fakes a generic keyboard and mouse.
Yeah, so the computer doesn't freak out when you disconnect. But because it's faking a generic device, if you have a complex gaming mouse or a specialized editing keyboard, it just won't work.
Because the emulation software strips away all that specialized data just to keep things simple.
Exactly. So transparent means there is no middleman faking anything. It's a pure plug-and-play connection.
Right, you can plug in a smart card reader, a hard drive, whatever, and the computer sees the actual hardware instantly.
Here's where it gets really interesting. It's essentially high-stakes digital musical chairs. But every operator instantly gets the exact workstation they need right when they need it without ever leaving their chair.
And that instantaneous web console managed access is everything for control room operators. These commercial matrix switches, both video and USB, they're the invisible backbone of high-pressure workflows.
It is amazing how much heavy-duty infrastructure goes into making things look completely effortless to the rest of us.
It really is.
So I'm going to leave you with a final thought to ponder. The next time you are out and you see a massive wall of synchronized screens at a stadium, or you watch a flawless live broadcast, ask yourself what kind of invisible underlying matrix is silently working, routing millions of data points and spoofing handshakes just to make that seamless illusion possible. Because honestly, untangling those two HDMI cords behind your TV doesn't seem quite so bad anymore.